Assalamu alaikum, everyone. This is Muslimah of the West, Glori. And today I have a guest, another sister who's out in Texas. Her name is Ruba, and we're just going to chat with each other and talk about stories about Islam and a little bit about what it's like to live in Texas as a modern Muslim woman versus living in the North.
That's right.
So, Ruba, do you have anything that you want to ask me to start out with? Any topics?
Okay, so I am also a YouTuber like you, so I have a lot of questions that I want to ask, but I don't want to be stepping over you. So I'm gonna make you do all the questions, and maybe at the end I will do my interview with you because I'm really like interested to know more about you as a person, telling me about your story of Islam, and I saw you also selling like some merchandise and things like that. So I'm really interested in that. And thank you so much for your gift that you have sent me, which is it was a really nice abaya, and I'm sure that I can put it in use for some of the sisters for my sister closet, inshallah. So jazakallah khair, may Allah bless you.
Oh, you're very, very welcome. I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah.
I just have a small shop that I opened up a few months ago. So basically, I just have the classic, basic abayas and hijabs that women need. You know, usually if they're reverting, I don't have anything fancy on there for parties or anything like that. Just kind of the basic ones that everyone needs to have, especially in the beginning.
Alhamdulillah, that's great. Yeah. That's really awesome. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about you, Sister Muslimah. Like, how long have you been Muslim?
I've been Muslim since 2016, so a few years. And before that, I was Christian. And my family is actually a mix of kind of agnostic, Christian. I do honestly have one other Muslim in my family, and she had married into the family. I'm not sure how that worked because I don't know that her husband reverted to Islam. I met him and he didn't appear to be a Muslim, but I guess I didn't approach him with that question either. So he must have, or she wouldn't have been able to marry him. But I only met her once, and it was at a family reunion a few years back, and I had just reverted. I had been a new Muslim for 1 year. And really, I have always been close to God and interested in scriptures. And my family being kind of split up that way, I was kind of back and forth between being able to access religious activities and talk about religion versus not. And I always felt that I was just a little bit different from the rest of the family, not just in the way of religion, but in the way of how I felt about how a family should be structured and just a few other things. Like I always felt like I wanted more of a community, more of a village type setting, more of togetherness. And I didn't know anything about Islam, but when I found out, I realized that it felt more like home to me. And I had had a few experiences where I met Muslims in the past in my life. And I also had a few experiences where I attempted to read the Quran, but I didn't really get a good understanding until much later. And it was then that I decided to do research on Islam to see if that was really the path I wanted to go on. So I listened to many lectures and studied a lot and was reading the Quran and talking to people, and I ended up going to mosque by myself. And the sisters, they were very nice.
Scared of going to the mosque by themselves. So how did that, like, tell us a little bit about your experience. Was it scary? Like, did you meet a lot of people? How was that?
I was nervous. because I was worried that I might go in the wrong section because I knew there was a men's entrance and I wasn't sure how to get to the women's section. And there was really nobody around. It was a small mosque in Olympia, Washington.
Washington. I was going to ask you. Okay. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. I made it up there, and it was pretty obvious to them that I didn't know what I was doing because I just kind of walked in, put my shoes outside the door, and started praying with them. I just was following them. I didn't know what they were saying. And after the prayer, they all kind of came up to me and welcomed me, and
That's nice.
kind of took it from there. So,
It's awesome that we went to a small masjid because, from my experience being in different states, not only in Texas, but I also was in Alabama last year, and then I'm here in Texas just temporarily. I live right now in Virginia, and most of the large masajid you will see people are called maybe because there are so many people, so they wouldn't know who's new and who's not, and they barely say salam alaikum to you or anything like that. But small masajid, because they're like a family oriented kind of masjid, so everybody would know everybody, and anybody comes new, they would treat them differently, and welcome them, and be more hospitable with them. So yeah, so I'm glad that you did that. You did go to a smaller masjid, because usually if you're going with a larger masjid, it's better. Like I always tell my friends, take somebody with you who knows the place inside, and that they can show you around and things like this. But yeah, that's awesome. Um, so you're from the West, and yeah, and so sorry about that. Before we go to that subject, what happened after that? Like after you went to the masjid and you prayed, you weren't a Muslim at that time yet, were you? Did you take
no, I wasn't Muslim yet.
and why did you put
It's
your hijab on? Did you have
I
your
was
hijab?
completely dressed inappropriately too. I could have really used the gift of fire at that time.
I can imagine as a new, yeah, sure. Okay. So what happened after that?
Well, one of the sisters kind of took me under her wing. Her name was Rakaya,
That's nice.
and she was there for me. She was just there for me. I could call her anytime. She invited me to things. She kept me updated on what was happening in the community. And that honestly really helped me. If I didn't have that, I think I would have felt so alone and kind of lost. And so I actually did a video on that on my channel talking about how important that was to me and how important I think it is, when reverts come to mosques to be able to have some kind of mentorship. Because when you're a revert, oftentimes it is a very lonely path because most times families are not either religious or they're against leaving their religion and going to another one, right? So even though my family is kind of broken up between agnostic and Christian, and in a way they're kind of accepting, but in another way they're not. So I get little tidbits of kind of mockery or feelings of being upset because I've changed and my appearance is kind of different. So it's not comfortable for them a lot of times to see me with my hair covered all the time. Unless I'm indoors, if I'm indoors with them in my home, then I don't. But I think there's some unique things about being a revert that are difficult. It's just really kind of nice to have a community and have some mentorship to be able to get through that and not be so alone.
SubhanAllah. Yeah. Now, about the mentorship, I would like to also tell the people that last year and in the beginning of this year also, I was working with a group that I have over 400 mentors from all over the world that they are knowledgeable and they are qualified to teach new Muslims. So if anyone is interested in the mentorship program, right now I don't work with them, but there are some other people took the charge because I'm just like so busy in other dawah stuff. But I was one of the founders with another sister who is also a convert for over than 15 years, and she's been an advocate with the new Muslims. May Allah bless her, Sister Shannon. And so, yeah, we did that mentorship program. And so, anyone would like to help to know more about Islam, to learn how to pray, if they have any questions, they also, if they just want some friends, we offer this mentorship, of course, like with the same sex, so men with men and women with women. So we don't have that mixing between men and women. And the people that I know that they are mentors, they're qualified, they are good people, they are very nice, and they follow the mainstream Islam, which is the Sunnah. And so, that's really great, mashallah. So you said you've been 3 years Muslim. So tell me a little bit about your process in learning more about Islam and learning the prayers and things like that. Was it hard? Was it easy? What steps did you take towards learning more about Islam?
Well, in the beginning, I took about 3.5 to 4 months to just really make sure it was the right path for me. So what I did in the beginning was I watched just an absolute ton of YouTube videos. Lots of lectures by Mufti Menk, Mr. Khan, I think his name is Newman Khan. I watched Dr. Zakil, I think his name is. Do you recognize that name, Dr. Zakil? He's an Indian imam. He answers questions and things like that to really big audiences, and he's memorized.
Zakir Naik. Okay, Zakir Naik.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
got his name wrong.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So I watched a lot of theirs, and I watched other Muslimahs or new Muslims, and I had to really watch actually quite a few hijab tutorials because it took me a while to learn how to put on my hijab properly.
I understand.
Still today, I'm wondering sometimes I don't do a very good job, but
Well, as long as it covers, it's fine. Yeah. Doesn't matter the style, right?
yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome.
that was the beginning. And then I just tried to go to mosque and join the community as much as possible. But because I was working full time, I wasn't always able to. I was working a government job and working also private practice. And I was going to school at the same time. And all of those were
Killing yourself.
that for a very long time. But now I'm not. I'm just doing my own thing now, and it's nice. It's really nice.
Yeah. That's cool.
So that's pretty much it. I just try to spend time with the community. I try to be, at mosque when I could. I tried to study as much as I could. I'm not the best at memorization in foreign languages, so I still kind of struggle with that. So it took me actually a very long time to memorize the Salah in Arabic. And even after I memorized it, I had a difficult time being able to kind of connect with the words I was saying because they weren't really registering with my own language with me very well. So when I was going through the prayers, I was trying to kind of focus on my feeling of gratefulness to Allah while I spoke the words because I really
Nice.
kind of struggled with that, so. And what was the other group that you asked me about?
I was like, that's really nice. What about the Muslims? What message would you give to the Muslims here in the West?
Oh, okay. For the Muslims, I would wish, inshallah, that there would be more awareness about the needs of new Muslims and that more Muslims would be willing to maybe reach out and offer some community, some companionship, to people who are just stepping into the faith and who are going through sometimes very hard times. For example, what you went through, that was much more extreme than what I've been through, and I felt the pain myself without any of the physical abuse and without,
So funny. Yeah, it's so funny that I went to the masjid over here in Richardson, Texas, and I sent 2 messages, and I even wrote a letter to that mosque telling them that when I got kicked out from the house and I didn't have any place to stay, uh, the first time when I became Muslim, no one answered. No one picked up the phone and talked to me about it when I really needed help. So, it's sad, Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I can relate to that because I had somewhat similar experience when I wanted to find out more about becoming Muslim. I had a very hard time connecting with anyone at the mosque. And when I finally decided to go on my own, which I did, alhamdulillah,
Very brave. I still say that you're very brave.
later, a few months later, when I decided I wanted to do Shahada, I once again ran into the same problem where I was not able to have my phone calls answered or have that just anybody to help me do Shahada because I didn't know how else to do it. I was reaching out trying to do that. And after almost 2 weeks, again, I ended up doing it online because I was searching out how can I do Shahada. I don't want to wait. So maybe that's another thing that Muslims can be more aware of, that maybe when a new Muslim calls or someone that's interested in Islam, maybe be more, I guess, aware of the importance that it is to them to even just make that phone call back and say, hello, we received your message, and maybe even just head them in another direction if you don't have time to,
Right.
help. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time. That's like 2 hours already. That
Thank
was
you too. Wow, time goes by fast.
about an hour, actually. Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, that's great. It's a great interview, and I really appreciate all your time. Inshallah, send me your links that you want to put in the video, so I can put them also.
Okay. Yeah, and I'll put yours in too. So send me your links.
Thank you so
And
much.
to my viewers, in the description below, I'll also have some links. So if you'd like to visit with Ruba at any of her sites, the links will be down below. And thank you for coming and joining with us today.
Me too. Thank you so much. Take care of yourself.
Oh, you too. Thanks.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you.
Peace be upon you.